Week 1 of Browns training camp is pretty much in the books. So on today's show, I'm going to run through some of the biggest storylines that I've seen. I'm going to buy some and I'm going to sell some. So today's show, by the way, was filmed during our live show every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern. So if anything I say gets dated, just bear with me. But the first story that I am buying is Deshaun Watson is back. I mean, he has looked the part all spring and now into training camp. The accuracy is there. The guy that led the NFL in passing looks to be there. It's only training camp. The pads are just coming on now for camp, but Deshaun Watson has looked every single little bit of that $230 million quarterback that the Browns gave him. So if anyone in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, has two eyes and a pulse, they can tell you that Deshaun Watson has more or less been the star of the show. He is back. I am in on it. I am a big believer in a big season coming for Deshaun Watson this year. This offense is being manicured to him. There have been some great additions this offseason. Elijah Moore has been his co-star so far. He's got a top 5 offensive line. Really comes down to the coaching and Kevin Stefanski, but I think people were a little too quick to try and drag him through the mud last season for his poor play. He had some bad games, no doubt about that, but he also had some pretty good games last year that people just want to gloss over and move on from because that fits their narrative. But Watson, telling you guys, he has been the real deal so far in camp. Now, Mary Kay had some interesting thoughts from boots on the ground I thought you guys should see. Watson is far ahead of where he was at this time last year. From a psychological standpoint, he knows it's his team now and that it's up to him. He's playing with confidence and directing traffic at the line of scrimmage with all the shifting and motion. I'll continue to say it. I'll continue to beat this dead horse. I am not just drinking the Watson 2023 Kool-Aid. I am the brewmaster. I am the annoying guy in the friend group that goes, you know what's more fun than a bar? Let's go to a brewery where we can watch them make our beer. I'm that guy for the Deshaun Watson hype train in 2023. Now, I really hate doing this next part, but everyone loves to see it because we're all fiends for it, if we're being honest. Some Deshaun Watson projected stats for 2023. Completion percentage around 67. 4,200 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Yeah, these numbers mean absolutely nothing. I always wonder how fantasy football websites put out projected stats. I mean, they're just throwing shit at the wall. But I am all in on Deshaun Watson. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, I kind of want to bring up this question and get honest feedback. Better quarterback this year, Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins? I was a long-time Kirk Cousins, drag him through the mud. Primetime Kirk Cousins sucks. But I don't know. I thought last year he actually played better than what people gave him credit for. So who do you think has a better season, Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins? Second item on today's agenda. I am selling that Anthony Schwartz has a window to make this roster. Anthony Schwartz, if you look back at his career stats, it's not been good. We all know this. I hate to bring it up. 10 has been the butt end of a lot of jokes. 186 yards, 1 touchdown in that Packers game. He had a rushing touchdown last year before he ended the year on IR with a concussion. Listen, unless the wide receiver injuries really start to pile up, I just don't see Anthony Schwartz making this roster. Now, I know that the big argument has been, well, if Marquise Goodwin misses time, the Browns are going to need another speedy receiver. Browns need a good receiver. Is Anthony Schwartz a good receiver? I think we can say through 2 years of his NFL career now, we have a pretty good idea of who Anthony Schwartz is. And that's a track star with pads on. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So no, I don't see Anthony Schwartz sneaking onto this roster just because they have a need for speed. No, they can go to Jalen Darden. Dalen Baldwin has been better than Anthony Schwartz, for crying out loud. I'm passing on this. Now, what I'm not passing on is the awesome deal I'm about to share with you guys, and that is Zbiotics. Today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Zbiotics. Let's face it, after you guys hit me with a bunch of super chats, I do not always bounce back well the next day. But that is until I found Zbiotics. Zbiotics pre-alcohol probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Zbiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Drink Zbiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Now, I want to show you guys the product itself because you can see it's not some ginormous package. It's actually pretty light and slim, which makes it really easy to travel with. They come in 6 bottles, so if you've got a bachelor or bachelorette party coming up, this is an awesome tool to have. It's the ultimate favor for that party. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code CHATSPORTS at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are ever unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout for 15% off. All that information is down in the comments and the description of today's video. Thank you, Zbiotics. Third story on the agenda. I am buying that Elijah Moore is legit. This was a trade that I've been excited about since the moment it was made back in, March? And it has only gotten better and better since then. He has been the clear and obvious star of training camp. Of course, all the attention goes to the quarterback, Watson, and all the eyeballs are on him. But Elijah Moore is right next to him on the podium in terms of Browns training camp stars. He has developed a chemistry with Deshaun Watson. Amari Cooper has been sidelined for the first couple of days of training camp, tweaking something, not serious, nothing to panic about. But Elijah Moore, no doubt, has ran with the opportunity to get more runs with Deshaun Watson as that go-to target. And I've loved everything I've seen from him. I mean, we'll look at his stats. We've seen these numbers before. We know that in his rookie season, he put up really impressive numbers for only playing 11 games in a putrid Jets offense, 538 yards and 5 touchdowns. He looks like he is in for a huge season. Similar to the Deshaun Watson projected stats, I hate doing this, but everyone loves to see it, so I'll take one for the team. 70 grabs for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. I think Elijah Moore is in for one hell of a season. So, yeah, don't just pencil me down. Mark me down. Get a Sharpie out. And not even like the thin Sharpie, the big fat Sharpie, too. As a more believer for 2023, I think he's going to have a fantastic season. I'm very excited to see how he performs in this offense. The Browns have been creative in terms of lining him up. He's been an outside receiver. He's been in the slot. They've even tossed him into the backfield every once in a blue moon. So, yeah, very excited for what Elijah Moore can do this year. Now, having said all that, I do think people are being a bit too quick to kind of move on and forget about DPJ. Guy put up over 800 yards last year in this offense, and that was a run-first offense with a quarterback change 2/3 of the way through the season. So I wouldn't just rule out DPJ like that, but I think better season, it's going to go to Elijah Moore. Next topic for discussion. I'm going to sell the idea of Jordan Akins is going to have a better year than David Njoku. Jordan Akins has been very good at training camp so far. That's not to take away from him, but I'm still going to stick by David Njoku. Here's what Mary Kay had to say about this. Akins has gotten plenty of targets and has a natural chemistry with Watson, his former Texans tight end. He'll give David Njoku a run for his money this season in terms of receptions and touchdowns. Now, I think we can all agree that David Njoku has been good. The injuries have definitely plagued his career. I don't think I'd go back and take him in the first round again if we're doing a redraft. I mean, imagine if you had J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett on the same team. But I think Njoku and Akins are going to form a really good tight end duo. But I'm going to lean towards Njoku because he has been the better tight end so far in their NFL careers, right? The numbers speak for themselves. Now, Akins overlapped with Deshaun Watson in Houston for a good chunk of time. He put up over 1,000 yards in 45 games and hauled in 3 touchdowns. Last year, he had a breakout year for Houston. Of course, no Deshaun Watson at the time, but maybe he's just building off of that, and he's going to take that good play from last year and then parlay that with his connection and chemistry with Watson. I don't think either tight end, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, really vastly exceeds this season. I just don't think the Browns tight end room is going to have a guy go over 800, 900 yards. At the end of the day, there's only one football. And Nick Chubb's going to get a lot of carries. Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper are going to get a lot of targets. And I think tight end's going to fall by the wayside a little bit. When you look at what Watson did at Houston so successfully, it wasn't through the tight end position. But I am going to pick Njoku over Akins because I go back to last year. Who remembers how exciting it was for Njoku until he got injured in that 5-week stretch from weeks 2 to 7, 411 yards and 1 touchdown. The only thing that was missing was those red zone touchdowns. But Njoku last year put together a really good stretch of the year before he got hurt. If he's healthy this year, I don't see why he can't build off of that and really separate himself from Akins as this team's top tight end. Before we get to the rest of our programming today, if you enjoy the content we are providing here, consider subscribing. We're trying to reach 21,000 subscribers. We put a lot of work in to get you guys Browns content, so it would definitely mean a lot if you have not subscribed to consider going ahead and doing so. Fifth and final topic for discussion, I am buying the defensive turnaround. Mark me down as a buyer for this because it's real. It's underway. I'm not going to completely give it all of its roses, as I like to say. I did that last year, and it kind of bit me in the derriere, but there have been a lot of praises as for this new Jim Schwartz-led defense. Here's what Denzel Ward said. He's got a great defensive playbook, and I like his coaching style. He's going to be hard on us, and that's what we need. We need someone to tell us what we're doing good and what we're doing bad, or what we need to fix and focus on. And he's right there in our ear letting us know. He's just a fiery guy, a guy that's going to tell you what it is. And like I said, that's what we need around here. Ward was not the only one to say this. Myles Garrett also echoed the same thought, saying he's excited. He's excited for this opportunity that he has working with this team, and we should be just as excited and fired up that he's here and he's so fired up about winning with this team and putting his best foot forward. I mean, I am going to just pump the brakes just a little pump, because it's easy to say glowing, awesome things in training camp. That's what every fan base does. They always hype each other up during training camp. And then the regular season rolls around, and not all 32 teams have winning seasons. Fortunately, the Browns know this all too well, and I and you have been down this path before of buying really into the offseason chatter and it not really resulting in wins. But I will say this one, I know, broken record, this one seems different. It does. I mean, come on, right? Jim Schwartz is not Joe Woods. Jim Schwartz is a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. He's one of the best defensive minds in football. So yes, Michael Scott, I am prepared to get hurt again. I am ready to jump in on this season and on this team and know that we have been down this road before. But I'm telling you guys, it's different this time. I promise. Before we get on out of here, just a couple of things I wanted to run through in case you're kind of in the dark when it comes to training camps so far. Martin Emerson has been the star of the secondary. I mean, he had a pick 6 against Deshaun Watson on the 5th day of training camp. This is a name to watch for, no doubt, as a breakout season after a really solid rookie campaign. Now, echoing more of why I think this defense is in for a big turnaround is, well, last year the numbers were awful, right? 22.4 points per game. That's not downright bad. I mean, that's 20th in the league, but 20th in the league that has Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. I mean, so many great pieces on this defense, and they fell flat on their face. And I think a big part for a turnaround has to be with the Warden. This is a guy that gets paid top 5 cornerback money, and last year he was not a top 5 cornerback. There's just no other way to say it. So hopefully a bounce-back season is coming for number 21. So give me your thoughts before we let you guys go and get on out of here. Bounce-back season coming for Denzel Ward, yes or no? I sure hope so. I think from the front of the defense to the back of the defense, if the front 4, if the front 5 are getting a lot of pressure, That's going to free up linebackers. That's going to force the quarterback to get rid of the ball quicker. And that's going to make a life on a DB a lot easier. So, yeah, I think there is a bounce-back season coming for Denzel Ward. Let's pick a card to wrap up the show. Mr. Lauderay, which card would you like to select today?
Let's do the King of Clubs.
King of Clubs. I like that selection. If you get a face card right, hits different. I'm going to go with the 9 of Diamonds. 10 of Hearts. 10 of Hearts. 10 of Hearts. That's a bummer. Yeah, Hearts is the least drawn suit in the deck, actually. Some fun off-season mode, pick a card stats right there. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. We will sign off and catch up with everyone later.